realize that the transition from high school to whatever is after high school can be a challenging transition. And it's an exciting one too. You get a little bit more independence and have responsibility to make your own decisions in ways that you maybe haven't had up to this point. And so we want to talk about how to navigate that well. And we really want to help students to hold on to their faith after high school, so that it's not just kind of this jacket that you put on of like, yeah, I love Jesus when I'm with these people or in this circumstance, and then I can take the jacket off whenever it's not comfortable, but that our relationship with God is something that's integrated fully into our lives. And so that can become challenging when we enter into environments where maybe not only people are kind of neutral or indifferent to God, but they might even be actively hostile towards people who love Jesus. And so we just wanted to have conversations with you guys today from people who are in the post-secondary world, and just what they have to offer to help with that transition, and some insights that they can share to encourage you guys. So please do think of questions and feel free to ask questions. We've got a few different kind of post-secondary options, I guess, that we're going to be talking about tonight, or this afternoon. It's 1 o'clock. It's not night. And yeah, so think of your questions, and if they have, if they kind of tweak something in your mind, I hope that this can be really helpful for you, and can maybe give you just even practical ideas of like, if I'm going somewhere, how do I get involved in a faith community? How do I get connected with other believers on campus? How do I get past that kind of lonely, awkward feeling of going to a church alone? And yeah, hopefully they'll have some extra insights that will be helpful for you guys. I know that school might not actually physically be happening in the fall, and some of you may be debating about deferring and things like that, but regardless of if and when you are on a campus, I think that you will appreciate some of the things that will be shared this morning, or this afternoon. Gosh, I don't know what time of day it is. Yeah. So who is up first? Is it Tanner and Melinda? Yeah. Okay. So you guys can take it away.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for having us. My name is Tanner, and this is my wife, Melinda. It's great to share with you guys some awesome discipleship, missions, and adventure opportunities. And I think Megan really put it well there, that it's not something that you can just take on and put off, but make it a lifestyle. And how can you carry your Christian faith, have it grow and be formed into the image of Christ more and more every day. And so we have some opportunities we'd like to present that are here in Niagara and also in the nations, with an organization or with a movement called Youth of the Mission, or YWAM. Youth of the Mission is a global Christian missions movement full of young people, and we're all connected by our shared passion to know God and make Him known. Melinda and I, we're 23. We graduated from Eden back in 2015 and got to know Megan and John really well, and went to high school with Ethan in our class. And we've been serving in missions with YWAM for the past few years. Melinda's also a business student at Brock, and you can ask her how that is possible after. This past year, a couple of our YWAM centers that we've been working with commissioned Melinda and I to start a new YWAM center here in Niagara. And we have, with our team, we have a vision to see every person encounter Christ and every believer empowered to live their calling.
Yeah, so how can you get involved? Well, the primary way to get involved with YWAM is by taking a discipleship training school, or DTS. DTS is a 6-month course split into 2 sections, lecture phase and outreach phase. The first 3 months focus on inward transformation through studying the Bible, followed by 3 months of activating the knowledge gained and gifts you realized in a cross-cultural context. So what drew me to YWAM when I was in your shoes in grade 12 was that the pairing of both biblical training with a tangible application. And this allowed me to really move my relationship with God from more of a head knowledge that I could just put on and take off, in a sense, to a really intimate relationship. And through my time in YWAM, I got really equipped to both hear God's voice and share my faith with confidence. So I personally believe DTS is a really foundational time that is valuable whether you continue on in missions or enter the workforce, or continue with your education. And who knows, you can even end up like me and do all three. So here at YWAM Niagara, we plan to run our first DTS in the spring of 2021. But we'd also love to connect with you and recommend other locations to do a DTS if you're interested. However, as Tanner mentioned before, our vision for YWAM Niagara is not just to run DTSs, rather it's to see every person encounter Christ and be equipped to live their calling.
Yeah. DTS is just the gateway to so much more in YWAM or in missions globally. We have partner organizations or ministries work with churches in any country in the world. At YWAM Niagara, though, we've just begun pioneering. Like our team arrived in December, and we've been hitting the ground running with that. So we don't exactly know what God will have us do here, especially with COVID. That has just thrown a whole new loop of confusion. But hearing God's voice has been so exciting through this process. But we do know that everything that God will have us do will come from this vision that we feel like God has given us. And if this vision agrees with you guys at all, then follow us on social media, check out our website, which will be finished being built in a couple of weeks, or chat with us on different ways you can get involved in the future. So thank you. I think that's about 5 minutes.
Awesome. Thanks. I actually don't have the lists with me of who's next, but I think it might be the other Tanner. Is that accurate or no?
Is it?
Yeah? Okay.
Well, actually, I'm gonna allow Isaac and Ben to also share. So it'll be like 3 people sharing within the time span of 5 minutes. So basically, where I was at in grade 12 was coming off of a summer from Pioneer Camp. Camps are amazing. And obviously in Ontario, we're just lamenting the loss of that because a lot of overnight camps, especially Christian camps, are shut down. So that's something that we can lament in, but believe that God is still calling young people and youth to discover Him and discover His love. But that's where I was at in grade 12, super eager to get connected to a faith community in university. But I was definitely, God wasn't done with me. So I kind of came into university being like, God, do something with me. Like, I want to learn everything. I want to serve. And then basically God really humbled me in how much I didn't know and how much work that really needed to be done. Yeah, the reality was I just met God really profoundly and personally and heard Him call me to mission with InterVarsity. Not just to consider school as a place to ask the questions, how does my faith merge with my academic passions? Where does my faith lie with my giftings? But to see the campus as a legitimate mission field where thousands and thousands of students are searching for Jesus and are wanting Christians to come alongside them in that journey. So that's really what got me kind of plugged into InterVarsity. Was I was just a grade 12 student coming off of the spiritual high community and really wanting to find something, and God found me through InterVarsity. So we're well known for our campus groups across the country, for our summer camps, and we're also part of a larger global fellowship called the International Fellowship of Evangelical Students. So we're kind of like a sister movement that God has planted in Canada. But yeah, I'll let Isaac and Ben share because they are current Brock students with InterVarsity, and Ben just finished his first year. So he knows from firsthand experience what it was like to transition into university.
Yeah. So, hi, my name's Ben. As Tanner just said, I just finished first year at Brock, and so I just kind of want to share briefly my kind of experience. So first of all, I'm actually from Regina, Saskatchewan. So going to university was already kind of hard, moving so far away from home, going to like a completely different province. So I was struggling to kind of find a peer group, because I went to Brock for rowing, but rowing took up a lot of my time, but I needed something else. So I seeked out a good Christian group, and my pastor recommended InterVarsity. So I joined a couple Bible studies there, and yeah, I just found it was super beneficial and super, yeah, just really valuable to me to find a peer group with common interest. And if I was ever struggling with anything, just stressed out about school or whatever, I'd just shoot a text to Tanner or whoever to give me a quick prayer, and it really just encouraged me, uh, to that I was able to find connections like that. So yeah.
Isaac, you there?
Think we're having some trouble with Isaac's mic. Isaac, I don't know if you can unmute yourself, because I've been trying to unmute you there. There should be a little microphone in the bottom left of your screen that you can just tap.
He's been having Zoom issues that we were aware of beforehand, so he might just not be present. So we can, yeah.
Yeah, he
If
might
that's
be.
I don't
okay.
think
Yeah.
gonna work out there. Yeah, that's okay. I'm sure he has an awesome story. That's great. Anything else from you,
Yeah.
Tanner?
No, I'm happy just to jump to questions and
Yeah.
hear also from Rebecca. And
Yeah.
I think this is an uncertain time, and we're in this together. I just curious how y'all are doing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Rebecca has a little slideshow presentation for us as well. She's presented a couple times to my youth group, and yeah, really happy that Rebecca could join us. So Rebecca, I'm going to unmute you, and then you can, I'll open the screen share capability for you as well. There you go.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. Let's see. Cool. Everybody can see that? Okay.
Yeah, unless mine's
okay, so if it's lagging, I apologize. Hopefully this goes well. So yeah, my name is Rebecca Lee Saint, and I'm a campus staff with Power to Change at the University of Toronto. It's such a pleasure to be with you all today. And yeah, I'm excited to hear from different campus ministries, and Power to Change is just one of the many. So you have options. We Power to Change, we are a national ministry, and we have presence in about like 40 and plus university and college campuses across Canada. We have about 1,800 students involved, and our heart desires to help students discover Jesus. For me, I graduated from Tyndale University, and so it was actually a teacher that told me that I had to finish an internship, and she told me about Power to Change while I was finishing my internship, and I came in and heard about P2C as an intern. But I'm gonna share later how a student, a grade 12, can get involved. I do also wanna mention like the current reality right now with the COVID pandemic, and it's prompting some Canadian post-secondary students as yourselves to reconsider your plans for the fall. It's a total reality that a lot of universities are considering to do some courses online, and in order to like, this changing landscape of health and safety measures. So I just want to let you guys know that we at Power to Change, we are acknowledging this reality, and we are currently a community online. And we praise God for that opportunity to be there present for students. So something about university that you also know, large classes, college or university, the experience of either university or college will be, great impact in your own life. And you receive like a degree, a diploma, and yeah, it's a time for you to reflect on bigger life questions. What is my purpose of life? What do I believe? What do I value as my identity? And what satisfies me? And yeah, there's actually an environment for you to ask these kind of questions, and you might turn to friends or classmates or books. But we pray that, yeah, you'd be one of the few, if you're a Christian, that you'd be challenged to evaluate your faith in Jesus, And for those, if you're not a Christian, that you're sitting on the fence, you would actually have a great opportunity to explore what you believe and why you believe, and to even investigate further the person of Jesus Christ. Because we at Power to Change, we want to journey with you in that as well. So let's talk about opportunities with Power to Change. We are like about community on campus. And yes, I have to say online community now, the new reality, the new normal. So we do small groups as well on campus. Well, if campus opens, but online, we're online. And it's a group that we want to explore our faith and our faith in Jesus. We offer also training for lifestyle of evangelism and opportunity for discipleship. So for someone to invest in your life, to see you grow spiritually. Let me share actually a small story, because just to depict really how Power to Change, we offer students on campus an opportunity to be a community that lives on purpose, that we want to grow together, experience Jesus together, to be stretched in our faith and inspire others to live radically different lives. So for me, it's been a pleasure to journey alongside a girl, and for anonymity's sake, I'll call her Portia. She's a second-year student. And her first involvement with Power to Change actually was as a grade 12. She attended a Power to Change winter conference. It was suggested to her by her youth pastor. And she got introduced to the Power to Change University of Toronto community. So Portia wanted to live her life on purpose. And so she wanted to be stretched and inspired. So she did get plugged in. And her first year of university, she was sharing her faith on campus. And right now, as a second-year student, she's actually co-leading a Bible study with me, and we're meeting online. So it's really neat to be working with her. What I find amazing about Portia's story is that she's living a life where she wants to impact others and her peers. I remember the first year of Frosh, the beginning of the school year, that was September 2019, and it feels like it's ages. But a parent from her church knew that about Power to Change, that we are a vibrant Christian community on campus. And so they asked Portia to connect with their daughter. And for anonymity's sake, I'll call her Brenda. So as a first-year student, Brenda was shy. She was needing of a community, and her faith was kind of dwindling. She wasn't sure what she would do with Jesus, who he is, and what he's all about. But she came out to our discipleship group. And so what was beautiful is that Portia was very intentional at being hospitable towards Brenda, showing the love of Jesus, and making sure that Brenda felt that she belonged. And so the girls became friends, and Brenda's faith and trust in Jesus just grew. Now that the COVID pandemic happened, our Power to Change, we are a community that's meeting online. And that was our quick response to what was happening. And so we're meeting together to read God's word and to encourage one another in this season of isolation, and to see that Portia is part of Power to Change. And we'll also have a digital mission outreach this summer, which Portia is part of, and to see that she's part of a team of like 56 students and staff that are involved in reaching out students. So this is in a nutshell what's happening now. So I want to share with you, connect with us. So this is an opportunity for you. You could check us online. We'd love to connect you with someone from the campus that you're willing to go in September. We will make you sure that you're connected with the staff on that campus. And even if you have questions, leave your info with us. So, yeah.
Awesome. Just gonna mute you there, Megan.
Okay. So students, you've heard some different opportunities and experiences. I wonder if any of you have any questions that you would like to ask.
Feel free, you can unmute yourself at this point and ask a question. I can unmute you all right now. Just be conscientious of the other people in the room. And then Obviously, if you want, I can ask the question for you. All you have to do is just send me a message in the chat, and I will ask it for you.
I have a question I can ask. For Tanner, InterVarsity Tanner, I guess. How do you like join a Bible study at Brock? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so I mean, I would actually kind of echo Rebecca's response and to connect with us. If you are looking to join a Bible study on whatever campus, whether it's university or Power to Change, we both have active websites, and for many of the student fellowships, we have Instagram or Facebook connect groups. So I'm not sure if screen share will necessarily work for me right now, but I will just forward you the website link for any way you can connect to camps on our many campuses, whether it's Manitoba, British Columbia, Ontario. There's a link where you can click to go to your specific university. And if you go to Brock, there's actually, you can find some of our events and small groups last year, staff contacts. And then we also just have an Instagram page, whether it's University Canada or whether it's our specific Instagram account. Most Instagram or Facebook accounts will be something like InterVarsity at Brock, or InterVarsity at McMaster, or InterVarsity at UFT. So following that same format, you should be able to find it. Once you get to those pages, feel free to give the student leaders or staff an email, and they would love to connect with you.
Okay, sounds good.
Ben also really loves questions because he was a first year last year, so feel free to ask him.
I have a question then. Actually, that's a good idea. I was just gonna say, how crazy was the first year? Like, how much work was it? As everybody kind of tells you about, being like, it's hard, but it's not too hard. You'll get through it. Like, how tough was it?
Yeah, so first year, yeah, I mean, it all depends on what your major is too. Like, obviously certain majors have bigger workloads, but by and large, you do have to learn time management, but it is by no means impossible. Like I balanced, like I'm a student athlete too, like I'm on the rowing team. And so we had to get up at I had to get up at 4:30 every morning to go work out, and then immediately go to my 9 o'clock class. So, and I manage classes. It will be a little overwhelming probably, but as long as you just kind of like stay, like chip away at all the work bit by bit, like it should be, it's totally manageable. It's totally manageable. Like it's not designed for you to fail. It's just, it could be it's only overwhelming if you just leave it to the last minute, because that's definitely not what it's designed for. Does that kind of make sense? It's all about time.
Yep, totally made sense.
Yeah. So it's like, I personally, was it hard at some things? For sure. Like it's school, right? But it's not, it's a natural progression. Like the same thing from grade 11 and grade 12 might be a little harder. Like grade 12 to first year uni is a little bit harder, but it's not a huge step. The one thing, it's tempting, it's funny, again, this year will be a lot, obviously the most unique year of any of our lives, given online things and COVID. But don't let the amount of free time you have fool you. You gotta kind of schedule your time, make sure you're like, okay, I got like 3 hours between classes. Let's get I don't know, 1 page of an essay done or 2 pages or whatever it is. And yeah, and also, but also at the same time, get breaks to yourself. Like I would always to myself say, okay, at 7 o'clock, I'm done. I'm not doing any more work. And, you know, when it got closer to finals, I kind of pushed it back to 8 or 9 or whatever. But yeah, also give yourself time to breathe. You know, it's all a balance, right? Especially first year. First year, it's will be more general classes, and then as years progress, they'll get more and more specific. Like I'm in kinesiology, but I took a statistics course and a psychology because I had to take some electives and an English course. Like I only took 2 anatomy classes this year, but as the years progress, it'll get more and more specific.
Okay. Thank you.
Can I just say that was words of wisdom, Ben? Like time management is the golden rule in university, and you just nailed it. Like praise God for you. It's so good. Just have to say that.
Awesome. Yeah. Any other questions? Feel free to, yeah, you can ask them like Kaylani did. That's great. Or you can just send me a message and I can ask it for you if you're shy.
I got just for Ben, obviously as a student, and then for Tanner and for Rebecca as campus leaders. You know, Ben, the importance of staying within your routine, right? Like in all your time, you're prioritizing, you know, connecting in community. And then maybe Tanner, Rebecca, like stories of students that have just found that regular connection in the midst of a busy, crazy schedule. Ben, you're insane. I'm going to say rowing, man. Like you need to find like badminton or something. I don't know, the 4:30 in the morning thing. It's like pretty crazy. But any stories with students too, like that perspective of how important staying connected has been, you know, in terms of faith community, or for Ben, you know, for yourself.
So I'm sorry, your question, so, could you just repeat the question one more time?
Yeah, so just your experience in staying in community, faith community, amidst a very busy schedule.
Yeah. So amidst, yeah, so kind of InterVarsity for me was, at first I was hesitant because I was like, oh, my schedule's way too chaotic, like I can't afford to, because you know, like I said, like time management is important, but you know, I got into InterVarsity, I think it was like October or November, and I was still getting my feet under me, and it's easy to get overwhelmed, but once you kind of zoom out, it's not as bad. Anyway, the importance of that community and to do in a crazy schedule. I don't know, this might sound cheesy, but I think if you dedicate some time to God, like I feel like God will then provide you the wisdom and skills to kind of make up for whatever perceived time you lost. Like it's never, a time with God is never time wasted, you know? So yeah, for me, it was just like a Bible study, an hour-long Bible study every maybe Tuesday or Thursday or whatever it was. And, you know, it's just a little bit of time out of your day and, you know, to dedicate some time to God and just kind of, just kind of take a little break from all the chaos and just spend time with God. That was just for me. And, you know, I also had to balance, like I said, like a rowing schedule. Like I had, like, there was the things in the early mornings, but we also had to do workout like in the afternoons a lot, like whether it be weights or extra cardio. So it's totally doable. And for me, it was very beneficial to find that kind of community, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, thanks, Ben, for sharing. That's good. With this online community now, when the COVID pandemic started in March 16th, It was, yeah, the first thing that we did as staff, we just connected with all the students and we told them that we're going to be online. Here's your discipleship group leader. And so it was actually helpful to connect with the students that were in isolation, especially in this season where, yeah, people were feeling lonely. And it was really disheveling for a lot of students because they were like sleeping in, but they still had like exams coming. So it was really chaotic. But what I was listening from them was that they had to start picking up a schedule even during this, during the quarantine that would include like studying and then connecting with the Christian community. So yes, there's a lot of part is like on the responsibility that you want to make it happen. You're gonna have to like make it work. Another really encouraging thing was because it's online, I had several students that maybe during the academic year, because they were commuters, it was actually hard for them to travel to our discipleship group. But the fact that they all had to like click on the link, like just that was like attendance just was rising. So there's an opportunity to just like, to be part of a community that actually wants to see you grow, that's gonna like check up on you and see how you're doing. I think that's really helpful with like mental health and that's my input.
Very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, if I can add to what Rebecca said, like I tell Tanner all the time that this pandemic, as much as, yeah, of course, there's unfortunate, but I think God has provided a few blessings in amidst all the chaos, right? Because I forget, whoever asked the question to Tanner about how to join a Bible study at Brock, well, that's now the easiest thing now. You could just contact whoever. It doesn't even have to be a Bible study from Brock. It could be like whatever, McMaster's or whoever you're connecting with. It's just a Zoom meeting, right? You like across. I'm in Saskatchewan right now talking to all you guys in Ontario or wherever you're from. I don't know the story behind all you guys, but no, Bible study is now, or Bible study, whatever you want to do, prayer meetings, whatever you want to do, is so accessible now. So yeah, there's blessings amidst all the chaos.
That's great. Does everybody want to share? Can we get the grade 12s and 12Bs just to share what you guys are doing next year? And maybe that could also spark some conversation between, just our campus ministry reps and maybe where you could plug in and, who the contact kind of is for each one of those schools. We'll start with.
Go first.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to Niagara College Welland campus. For ECE.
Nice.
Early childhood educator. So.
Nice. Awesome. Hey, Aaron, you want to share?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to Brock for concurrent education.
Nice. Mark Bourne.
Yeah, I'm going to Brock for psychology. Yeah.
Ashley, what are you up to next year?
I'm planning to go to YWAM, Australia, Perth. I was planning to leave in July, so we'll see if that actually happens. But I'm going there sometime.
That's great.
So, yeah,
that's awesome.
that's what I'm doing.
I think Tyler, if you want to share.
I'm going to Brock for English and creative writing.
Nice. Lots of Brock people. That's great. Mark, if you want to mute yourself, and I think Matt. Yeah, Mark.
I'm still between choices, but I'm either Brock for nursing or Conestoga for nursing. It just kind of all depends on what's happening next year with classes. And I'm just asking the different colleges and universities what their plans are. And I have 10 days to so.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Thank you for sharing. Matt Latham.
I'm probably going to accept my offer to business at McMaster.
but I'm thinking I'm gonna defer it until the next year so I can actually start at the university instead of online. But
that's sort of my plan too. I agree with that. I don't think I can do online classes at all.
Oh, that's good. Thanks for sharing. And Michael, I think you're the last one there, buddy. If you want to unmute yourself.
Oh, I was going to Niagara College while on campus for construction and renovation. But I don't know if I'm going to defer it or not because, like, it's hard to do construction online.
Good point.
Okay, that's funny.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, no, it's awesome. Cool. I don't know.
This is such a unique.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say this is such a unique time period because I feel like it's gap year experiences. I never did one, but I'd highly recommend. And I feel like this year is definitely a year to consider that. And I think like YWAM have some great options, but even like Power to Change in University, I'm wondering like how we can fill in the gap for those of you who are thinking of deferring. Like I'm kind of asking the question, what can we do to support you as you wrestle with that question?
Yeah, even I myself, between when I graduated high school and when I started my first year university, I actually took a gap year. I was just involved with like ministry at my church, still figure out what am I passionate about. And so yeah, gap years could be very precious if you use it wisely. So maybe this is a season, a different kind of season for everyone.
Yeah, well, that's great. Tanner and Rebecca, maybe you guys want to share. I have a question for you. Do you want to outline just the importance of being connected to an on-campus ministry? For some of us, we're going to Brock or Niagara College, and it's not like we're living on campus. So obviously, we still have our church. I don't know if you want to outline just a bit of the importance of also just knowing some great people on campus and what kind of Christian communities are going on there. Or maybe Ben has a great story.
Can I share a pretty amazing story of someone who rededicated their life to Christ this year?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so basically it's crazy. These type of things, I'd like them to happen more often than they do. But basically, 2 years ago, one of our student leaders within University of Brock, her younger sister was someone who grew up in the church, had a really bad experience in the church, which sucks. And like we need to lament that and provide space for that. But I think for her, she kind of walked away from the faith and from church as a whole. So we prayed for her younger sister, like basically every other week, sometimes every week, for her to just experience God's love and for God to call on her. I kind of like try my best to encourage her that she's not lost to the call of Jesus. But I think realistically, I was thinking, oh, if she does come back, it'll be like 5 or 10 years after. That's like a pretty common pattern. Little did I realize that this year, as she was kind of enjoying her Christmas break, she kind of had a prodigal son moment and realized, in her words, that the things that she were now in her life didn't really give her as much purpose or meaning or peace as she once had when she was following Jesus. So then she connected with her older sister, who is now graduated, and said, I'm thinking about becoming a Christian again. And she's like, oh, there's this really amazing community at Brock that you should totally get plugged into. Here's Tanner's contact number. Why don't you like meet up with them, have a coffee, and just share before you get overwhelmed and start meeting all these Christians on your campus? I'm like, so then I get a message from this student whose name is Tegan, and we really awkwardly had an amazing conversation, but it led into praying through one of the busiest hallways in the school, and she experienced God's peace in a very profound way. And for her, the University of Brock community, whether it's Bible studies, whether it's discussion discipleship groups, have meant a lot for her not only in her development as a leader, but finding that joy that she realized she once had, but hasn't had in many years. So that's been really encouraging. I think that's the joy of on-campus communities like Power to Change and Brock is we are here to love primarily and to model God's love, but it's also a really cool space where Christians can grow in their maturity and their leadership. But then like there are actual students coming to faith on campus, and that is definitely a thing, and we can continue to pray for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sure.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Tanner was saying in terms of it's a great place in university where you are asking like life biggest questions, and sometimes it's a great place to have peers, Christian peers that are journeying with you, and that are also there to help you and support you in that sense. And I feel that it's a great opportunity to be in a community that not afraid to ask life's biggest questions. Great story is so particularly at we have big large events sometimes, and we do partnership with other campus groups like InterVarsity, and so one of the students was able to invite one of his friends to an alpha group that we were starting after, and so that was a safe place for his friend who's a non-Christian to be invited to a space where he can like know the tenets of faith of Christianity, but also get a free meal, but also be able to it's not of someone who's preaching at him, but he's actually a safe space to explore faith. And so I think that I totally love like what churches do. I feel like when you're journeying in your journey of faith and you're committed to live for Jesus Christ and you're ready to get baptized, it's happening in the church. So I feel like we love like campus ministry and we'll never replace the church. But I think there's a beauty where we work together. And so I think there's an aspect of campus ministry where it broadens your opportunity to grow in a space where you could ask questions and have people journey with you, and pointing people to Jesus. And so that you could love Jesus more. And even like, what does it look like to serve Christ while you are completing your degree, and to do those things well as well, like worship by writing a good essay. There's a space for that too.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thank you so much for just highlighting the importance of being on mission on campus as well. And a bit of my experience from Brock, just kind of, it's easy just to float in and float out of classes when you're not living on campus. So I really encourage you guys to find some people, find your Christian community, because there's so many non-Christians there. And I know each one of you that are on this call, you guys are lights at Eden. And I want you to continue that as you go into your university life or your post-secondary life. So, but yeah, no, thank you so much, Tanner and Rebecca, for sharing. I have one more question that was just submitted to me. I'm going to put it in the chat for everybody there, but it says, how are InterVarsity and Power to Change? What are the differences between you guys? What are some kind of uniqueness or, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to hear kind of from Rebecca too, but this is a question that we actually get asked often. And maybe it's just because I'm in my readings and the church calendar year falls under the theme of Christian unity. But I would actually encourage that we need more workers on the campus as possible, whether that's Power to Change, InterVarsity, or other ministries. We seek for students to discover Jesus. So I think it is a good question to ask, what are some of the differences? But just the harvest is plentiful and the laborers are few. So let's bring all the laborers we can get, whatever name they're under it, as long as they're under the name of Jesus. Now, like, I think for me, I wrestled with that question when I was a student at Western and tons of other universities. My personal experience is I would be cautious to kind of label stuff like either or InterVarsity or Power to Change are better at discipleship or evangelism or Christian thinking, because the real is I think both of our organizations seek to do that extremely well. What I think I would encourage to say is that different student fellowships just look different, and that's just a reflection of who's in the group. and what they're passionate about. So that's actually why it's good to check. It really, it's like church shopping, but it's like campus. It's painful. Like there is actually, it makes a difference whether you find a community where you belong, where you feel like your gift can be used well. So that would be my recommendation. But organizationally, I know that InterVarsity's two main areas of ministry are campus, summer camps. And then we do, because we're part of a global movement, we have a huge heart for cross-cultural missions. So we do mission trips abroad. We have missions conferences with other students across the world. But I think, yeah, our biggest difference, or one of the things that make us unique, is that global connection, camp and campus. So we have nine different camps across the country, and I'm repping one of them. So.
Well, yeah, that's a tough one. So I love Tanner's explanation that, yeah, we love Jesus and we want to help you discover Jesus and to continue to walk and follow him. And I think under the umbrella of like the universal church, we're all in this together and we want to see you flourish in your walk with Jesus. In terms of like, yeah, try where you belong, like in terms of like where you feel you belong. And so I believe that the Holy Spirit can lead you to a place where you feel it's home. So I totally would say check both out. Power to Change is also at Brock. And so, and a third set, if I'm following like Tanner's framework, Power to Change, we also have, so the beginning of the school year in September, we usually have a retreat. I don't know what's going to happen about that. It's going to be digital or not. We do have campus retreats, and we do also have missions trip. Again, we did a digital mission trip this summer. So we still have a heart to help other people discover Jesus. And so we're passionate about that. And then also, so we have the local aspect and the global aspect as well. And so, yeah, I just say do check both out, and then like wherever you feel that you belong, yeah, hit it up.
That's awesome. I have another question here in the chat. What was this for Tanner and Melinda, or YWAM reps here? What was your favorite part of the DTS experience? Yeah, there you go. You're good. Go ahead.
Okay, favorite parts of the DTS. I think what was very interesting for me to learn on DTS was that God is interested in every aspect of my life. And he doesn't just say, yeah, like I like it when you read your Bible and ask me for prayer requests, but is actually interested in the details of my day-to-day. Where should I study? Who should I learn from? Where should I go? Who should I serve? God, give me a passion for people or for an individual. And I think that was a big hitter for me, was that God is interested in every detail of my life, and hearing his voice can help guide me through every aspect, and seeing people come to know him and knowing him more deeper personally as well. So that was for me, I think, my favorite part, DTS.
I think for me, being able to get to use my passions in the context of missions and in the context of sharing my faith with people, and learning how that God has gifted us all individually with this unique set of passions and skills, and he doesn't have a separation for this is the secular world and then this is the Christian world, and that's just for Sundays, but that with journeying with Jesus, like it all intermingles, and how beautiful it is when we get to express our passions for Jesus and the way that he can take them and use them in ways that we never even imagined. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question that maybe Ben might be freshest to answer, but anyone else can answer as well. If you are going to college or university in a town other than where you grew up, so you're not living at home, what is your experience or challenges or ways that you can make it easier to find a church and attend a church, especially if you're walking in alone?
So to find a church, uh, well, my first step was to go to the campus ministry first, obviously with InterVarsity, and then Tanner um, recommended a few churches, and I attended a few sermons with them. So yeah, if you're looking for a church, obviously there's research, but yeah, people like Tanner, whoever would be in charge, and majority of you guys are going to Brock, obviously. So Tanner would be the main guy. Yeah, just kind of stepping off the campus ministry, see what's in the local area.
I mean, I guess right now we can all attend church online, so you can do research that way. If you're going to be going somewhere else, you have a
Yeah,
bit of
no, for sure.
distance at this moment. Yeah.
Yeah, there's that freedom, but I'm just saying if once things start to go back to normal, there's that resource for sure. Yeah, and if any other students have more questions about what first year university is like, please feel free to ask them. I'm happy to answer them.
I have a question.
Hmm.
So, are the assignments like bigger, or are there more of them or less of them, or is it kind of like similar to high school depending on the class?
Mm-hmm. Well, so I know this is kind of it all depends on the class, of course. So there was two different, I'll give two different examples. So in my English class, our big assignments were essays. We had, in total, we had 6 essays. Now, each essay, you had about 3 to 4 weeks to write them. And they would be like, 5 pages. So a 5-page essay in about 3 weeks doesn't sound very hard. But once you actually get to start to write it and to write it well, and I highly recommend, if you're in an English class, get someone else to edit it before you hand it in. I learned that the hard way. Strongly recommend. Anyway, point is, yeah, there are certain things where it'll be like, oh, well, there's only like 4 or 5 assignments total in this class, so no big deal. But there's a reason why those are. They're worth a lot of credit, and they're big assignments. So there's a kind of deceiving aspect to them sometimes, but also there's classes where I took a psychology class, and we had a little assignment due every week. It was just a little bit, but those points really add up. There was one guy here, I forget who it was, who was taking psychology. So this applies to you too. Yeah, just little things, or like 1 page, 1 paragraph assignments. But I actually got a really good mark because each assignment was worth whatever 1.1%, or obviously it'd be more than that, but really insignificant. But they added up, so they were worth more. So yeah, it depends class to class. The assignments, like I said, it'll be a natural progression, harder than grade 12. But if you're good with time management, it's not as bad as people would have you make it out to be. If that makes sense, does that answer it, or was I too? Yeah.
That's a great question, Tyler. Yeah, assignments. What I learned from Brock was going to like your teaching assistants and having a conversation with them and asking them questions, emailing them helps a lot. And it saves you a ton of time too, just because then you actually know what you should be writing on instead of going off a crazy kind of tangent. So yeah, definitely talking to your profs, going to their office hours, and doing that, even though it seems like a lot of work to have to carve that time out of your schedule, it will actually save you a lot of time in the long run, and you'll get a lot more marks for it. So definitely use those people, use your teaching assistants and your profs, because you're paying them a lot of money. So any other questions there before we wrap up? I know it's 2 o'clock. Thank you so much for carving some time out of your guys' day. I know that everyone's busy with online school and everything else that's going on. But yeah, any final questions while we have these guys here?
Could I just add a little bit about my personal university experience? So during high school, I felt called to go to YWAM, and so right after high school, I did a DTS in Hawaii, and throughout my time on DTS, I was like really praying to what to do next. And I felt God saying to continue in missions, but to also go to university, which sounded confusing. But I got accepted to Brock for a business co-op degree. And so in the September after I started at Brock, and I had some friends involved with Power to Change already there. So that was an easy way to get connected in. And I kind of just shared with the student leaders there what passions I had that I discovered during my time in YWAM. And a lot of that was just for internationals. And at Brock, there's so many international students. So I was able to get plugged in with international student ministry. And in my second year of Brock, I actually got to lead the international student ministry there. And so from that, I definitely would encourage you to just share with people what you're passionate about, because there's so many opportunities to either be a part of things or to even start new things in the context of university. And it's actually like can be so flexible to what the world can kind of make it look as like you're just always at a desk, study. But there's a lot of opportunities to make your university experience look a lot different. So I was also in the co-op program. So I did one of my co-ops with two of my co-ops with YWAM. So I went to Hawaii in my second year and did a 4-month co-op there. And so I got credit for my degree to do missions work, which was pretty cool. And then after that, I did a full year exchange in a school in Australia. I was actually also got to work with YWAM at a YWAM base that was close to the university there. And school in Australia is a lot more relaxed than school in Canada, I discovered. So if you have the opportunity to do an exchange in Australia, do it. The Aussies are so laid back. But anyway, yeah, there's so many opportunities that are out there. So I'd really encourage you to not just sit back and let life happen to you, but to actually go after it and to pursue your passions and to pursue Jesus during your time in university, whether that be being a part of, InterVarsity Power to Change, connecting with international students, or whatever that looks like for you. There's even like, I know if you're into sports, there's what is it called? Athletes in Action is like another group that focuses on reaching out to athletes, so you can use your passion for athletics there. And yeah, so I'm actually in my last year at Brock, so I'm a Brock student right now. And I just finished my last co-op term doing an entrepreneurial co-op to start a nonprofit organization, which is why I'm Niagara. So it can really take you anywhere. And so when I was in grade 12, I had no idea that my life was going to look like this 5 years down the road. So to set plans, but not to be so focused in those plans that God is unable to use you to do other things. So yeah.
Follow your passions.